If you are a new candle business owner, these fragrances, I can tell you from experience, customers tend to really dislike. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 fragrances that I do not recommend starting your business with. Now, I do want to put up a disclaimer that these fragrances are going to be subjective to your business. So if you have a business, for example, that centers on one of the types of themes that these fragrances are based on, all bets go out the window. You might want to pursue that fragrance for that reason. But if you're just trying to figure out like what scents should I start my candle business with, these 3 are probably not going to be the ones for you. If you're new to the channel, fragrance videos are my absolute favorite to film. I'm a little bit obsessed with fragrances and proud. So if this kind of content brings a smile to your face, consider subscribing. I'm always posting candle business videos and behind the scenes of running 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, my own candle company. So before we get into these scents, which are really in no particular order, they're just gonna be the top 3 that I recommend not starting your candle business with. I just wanna say one more time that again, all this does depend on your branding. So these are just gonna be scents that in general, if you don't have like a very specific niche type of branding, you're probably not gonna wanna start with. So the first one might be a surprise to people, but it is a very common scent in a number of different like food areas and baking areas, but in candle making, this scent is very difficult to get right, and that is chocolate. Now, vanilla, on the other hand, is, I would say, much easier to do well in a fragrance. And part of that is because vanilla is found in nature and it is much easier to synthesize and also to extract and to kind of get in the essential oil form and vanillin form and just to make into a fragrance. Whereas chocolate is going to be something that is not found in nature in terms of in the aromatic world in fragrance. It is definitely found in nature in terms of like cacao. But in the aromatic world, chocolate is not naturally found, and it is something that is synthesized in an attempt to produce something that smells like the natural thing. And most companies have a lot of trouble getting this one to smell really good. I would have to say that my favorite chocolate fragrance is probably Nature's Garden Chocolate and Amber. However, that fragrance really has trouble with hot throw in pretty much everything I've tried. I even recently tested that out in 6006, which, I mean, if you know anything about that wax or about candles at all, you've probably heard of that wax being known for hot throw, and that fragrance still really struggled. I do know that Candle Science has one, I think it's called Peppermint Mocha. I'll put the name up on the screen. I haven't had personal luck with it because I haven't tried it myself, but I do have a friend that makes a really good chocolate candle with it, and I do believe she uses 6006. But it definitely has a prominent peppermint note to it as well. So I feel like if you are gonna go for a chocolate, it's definitely probably gonna be a good idea to find something that is blended with something else, just because companies really have trouble making something that smells like an authentic chocolate. And also, a lot of times they really struggle with hot throw, with chocolate being more of a base type of a note. Next up on this list, I know I'm gonna get some people that are like, oh my God, Alan, why would you put this on this list? Well, it is because in real life, you know, just seeing people come up to my table, for example, at a farmer's market, a lot of people don't tend to like this type of a fragrance, and that is patchouli. Now, patchouli in different types of blends can work really well. Patchouli it does stem from an essential oil. Most of you are probably familiar with it. It's kind of an earthier type of a fragrance, but in a little bit of a sort of skanky way. Yeah, it's a love-hate for people. My most popular fall candle with my crystal community on Instagram, where most of you will know if you've been here for any amount of time, is where I first started selling my candles, was in Instagram live streams. That community made the fragrance oil is Patchouli by Candle Science, my most popular fall scent, which is Cauldron. However, that is a very niche audience that really likes that scent specifically for, I would say, like kind of the metaphysical associations and just kind of that magical aesthetic, especially in the fall, which is the only time I will sell that oil. So yeah, in general, patchouli is one that you definitely would want to get in a blend if you're going to try to do it. Interestingly, my personal favorite scent of all time, some of you will know, is Patchouli Sandalwood. Well, I shouldn't say it's my favorite of all time. I kind of alternate, but it's in my top 5 pretty consistently. But it has a very prominent vanilla note to it and sandalwood note, so it is not just a strict patchouli. A lot of times customers associate patchouli with being kind of earthy, but not in a very clean and refined way, possibly. It can be done really well, but it's oftentimes challenging, and I find that more customers in the fall will prefer an apple or a pumpkin type of a scent over a patchouli. All right, and the last one is going to be, also, I'm gonna probably get some backlash, because even though these are scents that I don't recommend starting with, there's going to be a lot of people who watch this video who are like, no, that's my most popular scent. No, that scent is really like my favorite. But in general, I'm just trying to be very, very broad with this. And I would recommend not starting your business with a Fireside type of a scent. If you've been on the channel for any amount of time, you know that I've worked so hard to try to find good ones. And a lot of the times they just smell like smoke in your hair after you have been at a fire. They don't really smell like a true to life campfire. The exception to this rule might be Fireside by the Flaming Candle. However, you may struggle with hot throw on that one. That's another thing with these Fireside fragrances. A lot of them tend to be more base heavy, and they can be harder to get a good hot throw out of. But yeah, in general, I would say customers don't tend to purchase a Fireside scent, at least none that I have had, unless it is very like niche specific, like maybe in the fall. But even then, I'd recommend starting with an apple or a pumpkin type of a scent and not a Fireside. And along with this, I might even put pipe tobacco. Tobacco scents can be really good, but I may not list that necessarily on your scent notes, especially as a brand new business, because some people can get a little bit confused. They think you're putting tobacco in their candle, or they think that it's gonna smell like a cigarette, which tobacco leaves don't at all, and they can be a very nostalgic and popular note, but that is within other blends. I probably wouldn't start out with like pipe tobacco and cashmere, for example, by Nature's Garden. That type of a fragrance is going to be very niche specific. Unless your business is within a niche that would really appreciate something like that, I would not recommend necessarily starting out with it. And the last one, this is an honorable mention, is going to be for fruity fragrances, but specifically those that smell like candy. Now, these can be really popular. Again, it just depends on your branding and your audience, but I would say in general, people tend to prefer fruity fragrances that actually smell, at least my audience does, more like a real fruit. So, and those can be harder to come by. You really need to purchase a lot of 1 ounce samples, or look at the reviews on a fragrance, look for lots of 5-star positive reviews. You can also check out my fragrance playlist where I review hundreds and hundreds of fragrances. I'll try to put a link to that above. In general, a lot of fragrances that are marketed as fruit type fragrances can smell more like a candy, and I have found, at least, customers that want to purchase handcrafted candles oftentimes want something that is more of a nature organic type of a vibe rather than something that smells like a store-bought candy. I would love if some of you would post in the comments fragrances that you have found are really difficult to get sales on. I know everybody's gonna be a little bit different on this, but I'd be really curious what you've had trouble with in particular. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If so, don't forget to give this one a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thumbs down just lets me know that you're looking for some other type of content, and thumbs up lets me know that you want more of this type of content, so I will continue making it. But anyways, I'm sending all of you peace, love, and light, and I'm wishing all of you happy candle making.